He basically says, like, this is the reason why he works out so much.
But it's lacking the vulnerability that we connect with.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Liver King rises to prominence, but it's an incomplete picture.
I think vulnerability is the only thing we can connect to as human beings. We look up to the person who seems infallible, but we don't.
Ruslan.
Liver King got caught up for claiming that he was natty, meaning his physique was natural, okay? And basically got exposed by a massive YouTube fitness channel called More Plates, More Dates. What happened was he issued an apology, and he kind of said some wonky stuff on the apology that was neither here nor there. And now he's doing another press run tour, okay? And so he went on the Andrew Schulz channel, and it was this very interesting moment they had where he opens up and shared some of his story that many of us have never known about. And I think it's a great point of why we have to be careful, first of all, who we're listening to and who we're gleaming wisdom from, right? In the case of the Liver King, like it was complete nonsense. It wasn't real. It was a facade, right? But, and he lied about taking enhancement stuff because he felt ashamed a bit and yada, 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 okay? But there's this clip from the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schulz that I found extremely fascinating. I want to play it for you guys. Check this out. So this is him telling the story of the first time he got into a fight, but at least it's really interesting moment. He really opens up on this podcast, but at least it's a really interesting moment that Andrew Schulz dropped on. I want you guys to hear this.
And if I could do that, what else am I capable of doing?
So that was the spark.
You know what? Again, I know I haven't dealt with this because...
Wait, did you get to join the gang? Like, how did...
No. And sometimes I think I should have just done it. I would have gotten so much more respect if I had just done that. And that guy, when I let him up, he didn't come after me because he knew.
You know what time it was, yeah.
He knew.
I have way more respect for you doing it like that. I could f you up. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But you know what, like, so I doubled down then on working. I'd already been working out for a while.
Right.
But now I doubled down on that. You know, now I'm like, oh my God, I can actually control outcomes in my life. And well, fast forward all these years, and that's not changed. I don't go to sleep at night feeling pathetic. What I do is what's required of me to do is to kill myself, to crush myself, to destroy myself enough times to be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
He basically says, like, this is the reason why he works out so much. He has this obsession to run himself into the ground physically so that he can feel normal. This is interesting in terms of the psychology here. He works out twice a day, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 times a day. And the performance enhancing stuff is allowing him to recover faster. Okay, that means he can work out longer, he can work out harder, and he can work out more frequently, thus allowing him to put on more size that's cartoonish. Okay, it's not natural. And lying about it is completely, frowned upon. Okay, all right, so check this out.
Like, to me, this is way more relatable, and I think that, like, I think you said a couple things.
Well, first of all, I didn't know any of this. Like,
of course, you're processing it, you're becoming self-aware.
People are asking why, and I'm like, well, I don't know, because I got to get in the gym. Well, why do you got to do that? I'm like, I don't know until recently. But I think you said something interesting. Like, you grew up without a father. You didn't have so to me, you're becoming like the almost cartoonish version of what a man is.
Wow. So he says you grew up without a father. You're becoming a cartoonish version, a caricature version of what a man is by having this Liver King persona and this over-the-top look and this over-the-top intensity. And listen to what Andrew Schulz says.
Right? But it's lacking the vulnerability that we connect with.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And like...
It's lacking the vulnerability that we connect with. And this round of interviews is showing an interesting parallel of him where he's talking about all these different things and why he, runs himself into the ground and so on and so forth. You may not know I make music, but I got a new song coming out. And there's something I need you to do, but first, I want you to hear a snippet of the song.
I went from being a porn addict to sharing the gospel with a porn actress who was criticized for being low status by the same OnlyFans who treat us so lavish. I'm confused.
I swear y'all thought he did doing podcasts, hot takes. He still can rap.
Now, in order to get this song to the top of Spotify, I need your help. I need you to click the link below or go to RuslanToTheMoon.com and pre-save this song. What is a pre-save? It means that this song will be added to your library to remind you to listen to it the day it comes out. And it also tells Spotify's algorithm algorithm that millions of people need to hear this song. So help me promote Christian music that contextualizes the gospel and will help change lives by going to RuslanToTheMoon.com or clicking the link below.
Oh, they got me with the dramatics. You knew that a moment cannot be said.
Sometimes we don't know that. Notice that. Like, I remember with my wife, I'll tell you a personal story with my wife. We were trying to have a kid. The first month we're trying to have a kid. We didn't have a kid. The first month, my wife is a little bit type A or whatever. It's like it needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful we didn't have a kid first because I was doing a lot of earlier in that month. So our kid would have been whack.
So everyone here is doing stuff they shouldn't be doing to their bodies, okay? This is not an endorsement of any of these things. But the point, I think, is significant.
Right? Like that.
Yeah.
We got this test done on my sperm, right? And my sperm is great except for like grade of motility or something like that. I don't even know what it is. She's calling around, oh, it's how fast they swim or something like that. She's freaking out, right? And my reaction to her is machismo. It is, hey, we're gonna be great. Don't worry, we got this. I'm like, yo, if you want to do more tests or go to a specialist, we got. But don't worry, I know for a fact we got this. She's interpreting that as I'm not taking this seriously,
care.
and I don't care. What I'm doing is covering up my vulnerability, which is, will she not love me if I can't get her pregnant? Will she think I'm less of a man? Will my wife not be attracted to me? So I'm trying to cover up the real feeling I have, right? Which is being terrified that the woman I love could stop loving me because I can't do this primal thing. I shared that with her the other night. She started crying. I would never think differently, whatever. And I wish that I led with the vulnerability.
I wish I would have led with the vulnerability.
I'm really glad that you're coming on right now and like saying the true reasons why you're even pushing this lifestyle. It's to cover something up. You said that it was like 85% of people deal with like low self-esteem. You're wrapping your self-esteem into something that I think is unhealthy. Yeah. You have a wife, you have a family, you have successful businesses. You don't need to lift heavy 2 times a day to feel good about you. Were you a good dad that day?
Yeah.
Were you good to your friends? Did you care about people?
Yeah.
Did you provide for people? Like those are the things that I'm looking at and going, that's a king, not someone who bench press.
Yeah.
Because if bench pressing makes you a man, what the fuck am I? But I think I'm a good man.
Yeah.
So maybe part of the ancestral tenets is recognizing what you're doing and how you are being a good man, which is providing and loving the people and caring for the people around you. Right. Maybe that's something that you need to take note of, man. And leading with that vulnerability that has really transformed this interview.
Yeah.
You telling me the things you went through that you had to deal with made that real, not an excuse when you said it. I think vulnerability is the only thing we can connect to as human beings. We look up to the person who seems infallible, but we don't connect to them.
No.
Woo! That's a W take, Schulz. That's a W take. He said, we look up to the people we think are infallible, but we don't connect with them. We don't connect with them. And so how many times are men given an incomplete picture of what it means to be masculine? And so a guy like Liver King rises to prominence, but it's an incomplete picture. And it really is a cartoon picture of what manhood looks like. Manhood is also vulnerability. Manhood is also being present. Manhood is also being engaged. Manhood is also being willing to have hard conversations. Manhood is also being willing to have provision, which is not just financial. It's also being present in your kids' lives. Manhood to me is also about being the priest and the pastor of your home, right? And so Andrew says, if it's just about bench presses, it's like, man, well, I'm a bad man. But he says, I'm a good man because of all these other things he does. Have you been a good friend? Have you been a good father? Have you been good, right? Have you provided for someone? All of these different things. And so I found this such a refreshing and vulnerable moment on this podcast with gentlemen that usually don't go this deep. And Andrew opening up about this, I thought was really cool in terms of, wanting to conceive and all these different things, right? And so, again, it's not to paint a binary. Like, men should be healthy and take care of themselves and work out. And I think there's value. I mean, the scripture says there is some value to physical training. But that doesn't mean that that's all we wrap our identity around. And so it's like when there is a moment where people can be transparent, then it provides context for the deeper why. And so he created this cartoon branded version of himself, and it left very little margin for extending mercy to him when he totally messed up, because he lied, because he created a facade, because it was phony, versus a guy like Schulz who's just like, yeah, I don't really lift, or a guy like Rogan who's like, yeah, I lift, but I also take TRT and I'm honest about it. And we talked about Coach Greg on this channel as well. It's a very interesting intersection where manhood is right now in this climate, because you have very polar opposite tensions that are tugging men. One tension is some of this like red pill, you gotta be the man, high value, 6 figures, 6 foot, right? It's like that extreme. And if you're not, well, then you're doomed and women aren't gonna like you. And the other extreme is a very, if I'm honest, a very feminine version of manhood. And I don't think it's either or. Like, I think if we look at the scriptures and we glean from the scriptures, like, I think we see Jesus coming as the lamb, but going to come back as the lion, right? We see David, who defeated and destroyed Goliath and was a great warrior, while at the same time played the harp and wrote poems. It's not a binary. It's both. You need to learn to be tough and tender. You need to be, present and provisional. It's and both. It's not either or. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. Now, if you're like, meh, I don't want to sign up for $5 a month, I don't need another recurring subscription. Listen, I get it. You could also make a donation using PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. But we really want to get you on Patreon. I promise you, the perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.